What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on the potential of Marvel and DC having a shared movie one day. It's a hot topic. It's always been a hot topic. Marvel or DC? Or are you like me, who runs a channel based around Marvel and DC and pop culture? So, if you are new, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of these videos. At the 100,000 subscriber mark, I will be giving away a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X or a Switch with whichever game you want. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel so we get there faster. So the thumbnail is my YouTube banner. I personally paid for it and it's being commissioned by me. I own the rights to the image. So please do not steal it. So let's get into that. So Ultra Raw 26 on Instagram, very good friend of mine, very good artist, made it for me a while ago and I paid for it. Pretty cool image. But it is essentially Marvel versus DC. Will it ever happen? It's happened in the comic books before, you know, the massive story arc we had when Marvel and DC had a comic book run together. So if it could happen in the comic book world, why can't it happen in real life? So recently, James Gunn has come out and said this. He was asked a question on Instagram, I believe it was. Do you think it would be possible for a DC versus Marvel movie? And his response was, in the past, I would have said no way. But today, I think anything is possible. What you've got to understand is James Gunn is a partner at Marvel with the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, was a producer on Infinity War, etc. And then he's producing Suicide Squad Volume 2. So if anyone was to have the best case scenario possible insights to how each company works differently yet works the same, it would be Mr. James Gunn. So James Gunn said this, and this is going back a while now, September the 29th. But the only reason I'm bringing this part into this video for presidents is the fact that recently he was asked this question. He said, as I've said many times before, at the end of the day, Marvel and DC have a lot more in common than they do not. And I'm now here and have for almost being my life. So he's been a lifetime Marvel DC fan. I know, and my partners, both Marvel and DC, believe what's good for one studio is generally good for all, spurring each other on daily with heartfelt, spectacular, innovation entertainment that keeps audiences around the world loving movies based on or inspired by sequential art. So essentially he's saying that Marvel and DC fans are literally the same. Marvel is the same as DC. But for some reason, we live in this society where you can't like Marvel if you like DC, and you can't like DC if you like Marvel. Me, personally, I'm a fan of both. Both have good, both have bad. But could they actually ever get into a movie fight? You know, just think of EndGame, but say Justice League versus Avengers, Avengers versus Justice League, X-Men versus Justice League. It would be a spectacle. It would be so darn insane because they're both doing really well. Joker, Aquaman made over 1 billion. You know, Joker's made the most money. It's made more money than EndGame. It's the most profitable comic book movie of all time. Yes, EndGame might have made 2 billion, but in terms of which company made more money for one movie, Joker destroys everyone. So, you know, the only problem here is, yes, they could do it in theory, but then they'd have to co-finance 50-50. Then they'd probably argue who takes the money, who's going to win. It would be the best case scenario for both studios to have some kind of Elseworld, dark universe where both sides fight each other. Now, will this ever realistically happen? I can't see it happening anytime soon, but James Gunn seems to think there is a chance it could happen. In the past, I would have said no. But today, I think it's possible. So if someone that's worked with both Marvel Studios and Warner Bros. Says that it's possible, then it could be possible. Now, as you see in the thumbnail, as I've said, Thanos versus Darkseid would be freaking insane. Superman versus Thor. Chris Hemsworth has said publicly that he would like to fight Superman in a movie. It's never going to happen, but we're just speaking hypothetically here. It would be freaking insane. If this was to ever happen, this movie would break every single record going. It would smash EndGame. It would just be insane if Marvel and DC could finally make a movie together, it would be freaking insane. It would be very expensive though, because it'd have to have all the DC actors, all the Marvel actors, and then it would have to be a co-financed movie. You know, kind of like how Sony financed their Spider-Man movies with Marvel, but essentially DC and Marvel would have to co-finance the whole project, the script, the studio, absolutely everything, the release date. It would be cool, and I would really like to see it. But in today's world, could this be possible? I really do believe it could be possible, at least from Warner Bros. Side. I think Warner Bros. Would be more open to the subject of Marvel and DC having a joint collaborative movie than Disney would. Disney doesn't seem to play nice. Disney doesn't seem to play fair. You know, Disney streaming service, I mean, you've got to watch all the Marvel shows on there if you want to know what's going on in the MCU canon. So I honestly think that DC would be more game for it than Marvel. Now, I do get a lot of comments saying, Warstu, you are a Marvel chill. But realistically, guys, I've got close over 1,000 videos, and there's a lot of Justice League, a lot of Aquaman, there's a lot of DC movies, Flash, Arrow, even Supergirl, even Batwoman, so much stuff. And then again, I've got a lot of Infinity War, EndGame, Spider-Man Far From Home. So I cover a lot of movies and TV shows when it comes to Marvel and both DC. But it would be fantastic if I could cover a movie that was both Marvel and both DC, which wasn't canon to anything. It was just set in an Elseworld situation where, what if these two giant companies came together for the greater good? Now, there is forever the Marvel DC, you're a DC fanboy, you're a Marvel fanboy, but they've done this before in the comics. There is a comic arc, there is a comic book run where DC and Marvel went together in the comics. So it's possible. It really is possible. Even Batman has had the Infinity Gauntlet, you know, so it's definitely possible. But would it happen? I'm not really sure, but it would be freaking awesome if they could somehow come together and do it. So there was a crossover between Marvel and DC back in the 90s. It wasn't very good, but it did provide a number of strange and interesting combinations of iconic characters, with the best being Darklaw, aka Logan Wayne, who was also Wolverine and Batman at the same time. Also, he looks awesome in a ridiculous 1990s kind of way, so it would be awesome. Now, this is coming from comicbook.com, so it's very interesting. So, Wolverine going against Batman would be freaking insane. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I want to get a bit of a conversation down there because I do have an audience for Marvel and DC. Let's try and be nice to each other, right? Because I know comic book wars, comic book fans, Marvel, DC, you cannot support both because one has to be the mega juggernaut powerhouse. But realistically, if James Gunn's directing Suicide Squad 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, realistically, their movies are basically the same in a way. One's in space, one's in the ground. They're a bunch of rejects in a way that, you know, of outcasted from society. So Marvel and DC movies are literally the same. But I know I'm going to get some stick in the comment section for saying that. If you're a fan of Marvel, there's no reason why you can't like DC films. I never get why people say, yes, the Avengers is so freaking amazing, guys. But then the Justice League movie was trash. I mean, realistically, released the Snyder Cut. We know we didn't get the Snyder Cut, so we can't really compare the Avengers movie to the Justice League because we didn't even get Zack Snyder's variation of the Justice League. But earlier movies, Man of Steel couldn't go toe-to-toe with any Marvel movie. Now, just because EndGame, you know, grossed the most money, like I said, Joker's made more money than that, so realistically, Joker is the winner, you know. I don't really think there is any difference between either and or company. So obviously, the House of the Mouse, Disney is a PG-13 company, and they don't produce R-rated content. They will never produce R-rated content, even on their Disney streaming service. And that is something that will hit them hard long-term. The fact that Deadpool cannot ever be on their streaming platform because it's too edgy. So yes, they will make R-rated Deadpool movies, but it's not going to be in the MCU, so to speak. There will be a watered-down and Once Upon a Deadpool variation. Whereas DC go dark, they go edgy, they go mental. They can't do that in Disney. So DC versus Marvel cannot happen because they are just two different audiences, although they are the same audience. DC caters more for elderly people, I guess you could say 18-year-olds. Batman vs. Superman got pretty crazy. I can't really think of one Marvel movie that got pretty crazy because Deadpool is a Fox movie. It's not a Marvel movie, essentially. So guys, let me know down below. Marvel versus DC. Do you want it to happen? Should it happen? Is James Gunn speaking up tone when he says it could potentially happen in today's world? In the past, it wouldn't. I really would like a non-negative conversation down below. Why can't Marvel and DC have a freaking insane fight? And let me know down below, guys, everything that you think about this video. I would really like this project to happen in the future. I know we are 20 years away from it happening, but, you know, we never thought we'd get an Avengers movie. We never thought we'd get an X-Men movie. We never thought we'd get a Justice League movie, even though we haven't got the release of Snyder Cut, the actual normal variation of it yet, but it is there. Kevin Smith says that, you know, loads of people say the VFX is done. Loads of people say it's not done, but maybe if they do release the Snyder Cut, maybe it will give Disney the confidence to go, right, cool, let's go DC Marvel movie. That would be so freaking cool. There's no reason, realistically, from a logistic point of view, why it can't happen. I mean, Chris Hemsworth wants to fight Superman. I'm pretty sure loads of characters want to cross over with each other, but it just can't happen. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.